Welcome back to Off the Ship. Toby here, and we're going to get into episode 2 of our 1966 John Deere 110 Round Fender repair. Before all that, just like to point out, I originally thought this was a 1964. Some fine gentleman in the comments said, hey, 64 is at a 3-speed transaxle. Looks like you have a 4-speed. You may want to revisit that, and I did with the manual that I bought, and it turns out this is a 1966, so sorry about that confusion. I'm sure there was somebody out there going, 66. So this, it's gonna be a busy week. Outside of this video, got quite a bit going on, and with this video we got quite a bit going on, but I'm really looking forward to it. This weekend we have lined up the use of a sandblaster, so that's pretty exciting, and I'm going to try to get our donor engine, the Kohler 181S, just prepped for sandblasting, so when we get it to the sandblasting cabinet we won't ruin anything. All right, the mailman. Yeah, buddy. This is my little...
Off the ship.
Yeah.
Sweet. Jeez, an hour and 20 minutes. Nice.
Yeah, that's...
sit down with a cocktail for that one.
That's the idea.
Awesome. Yeah,
So,
I'll look it up when I get home.
Cool. You're like a celebrity. I'm like, oh, it's the mailman. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, my pleasure. Have a good night.
Hey, you too, brother. So here are some parts. It was the gasket set that was sold out. That's a bummer. It's a piston 10 over. Piston rings. So I did order standard and 10 over. I don't know if it made the cut last time, but so they're liquidating the inventory, and I checked it like last Friday night. And then the morning on Saturday, like some of the stuff that I was looking at was gone. So I was a little worried that it would all go. So I ordered a 10 over piston ring set because I hadn't measured the bore yet, and I knew that I could hone it out. It might take a while, but I could do it. Then I measured the bore, realized it was more towards the standard size of things, so I ordered those as well. Glass sediment bowl, fuel filter. This is more like one of those, if future me wanted to get my hands on this, but they didn't exist anymore. I'm not familiar enough with these tractors to know, so I just ordered it. I'll probably break it. Oil seal kit for Kohler engine. I'm assuming that's on the both sides of the crankshaft. All right, we got an intake and exhaust valve. No springs, no tapered split clip or however these are held in place, but just the valve, and I'm assuming that in a pinch I can repurpose one of the other two the jewelry for the top of the valves, or I guess they sit this way, right? So the bottom of the valves, but so that's that. Got some parts, which is better than no parts. Also figured out where I saw that there were two types of starters. It was in the Kohler manual. So the belt start, the starter generator, and then I don't know if that's the regular starter, but down here there's a bunch of variants with regular starters. That's where I picked that up from, but not with the John Deere's. So looking at the manual here, following sequence is suggested for complete engine disassembly. Disconnect spark plug lead. Drain oil from crankcase, remove air filter, remove muffler, remove throttle linkage and carburetor. So that's a throttle linkage. Get like a little ratchet set up. Get you out of a jam every now and again too. So that's just a split clamp situation. I don't know if we gotta force that apart or what. There we go. The throttle linkage. So that is what that is called. I was like, fuel shut off before. This is not a diesel, so that wouldn't make much sense. This is, I don't know. I'm just gonna take a peek. I'm just curious. That's just a mounting plate. All right. Alrighty. Throttle linkage and carburetor, remove external governor components and throttle control. Move fuel pump. So the carburetor sits like here, and the fuel pump is somewhere down here, but let me just flip you over and show you what we're dealing with. So here's the front of the K-series on the John Deere. Then these did not come with a fuel pump. Fuel pump, according to the service manual for the engine, sits kind of like right here. But that's what's going on here. And there's some pretty stark differences to our spare engine. So the manual says remove electric starter, fuel tank, dipstick. That's easy, you know. Cylinder head baffle and air side baffles. I'm all baffled by that comment, but remove blower housing. That must be this cover. Unless there's a roots blower on this thing that I'm unaware of, which would be pretty sweet. And then remove rope, start pulley, grass screen, and flywheel. So remove the flywheel. Got some jacking screws. See what we can do here. I always like to check the threads to make sure that it's not reverse thread. That'll get you every now and again. This can sometimes be a bit of an exercise when you hear. So yeah, that makes sense. Just like that. It's my intention to possibly reuse this crankshaft. So I'm gonna try not to screw those threads up too bad. And dragging the flywheel across could do that, but I think this is a tapered portion of the shaft that the flywheel sits on, so should just pop and be good. So let's set up a puller. There's a couple jacking bores, or it's not strictly jacking, they're pulling. Looks like 3/8 16. You just don't, these things are hanging by a thread, literally maybe half a turn in. Probably will tear out my pulling bolts. So let's go a little bit longer. Golly, look at that. Ooh, so maybe they do jack a little bit. I don't know. It's possible that these would sit on something solid and be able to press that off, but I don't know. Well, I don't know. So I'm just gonna, the manual said to do it this way, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I got the opposing slots here. I get these even so they sit on that. So I'm just going to go to near the unthreaded portion. All right, that's close enough. And then, you know, very carefully, you walk this pressing piece in. A little off center there. See, that's easy to flip. And that looks more or less even. You can kind of tell by the angularity of your pressing screw relative to the plate that's pressing on. Especially on this, it's not critical. When you start getting a real elaborate pulling setup, that you know, your angularity becomes pretty darn important. But this, I think we're okay. I guess this flywheel doesn't mean much to me, so I'm gonna stick a bar through it. So this might just lift it. It might break the casting. There's a lot of mites involved here, but theoretically you'd like pass it through, but whatever, this is gonna be fine. So then we tighten it, and pop. Seems like we're probably gonna have to escalate. And we're a tighten. This is a tightening situation. And here we go. Ooh-wee. Good on you, DeWalt. So there's more than meets the eye happening back here. I did read about, I guess that's the stator. So we got some permanent magnets, I guess. Pretty cool. Which spin, so that would make that the stator. This be the rotor. There's no slip rings or anything, so okay, your leads are coming off of the stator. Cool. Well, can't argue that design's been around for long enough. Shaft saver. Look at that. Shaft's in great shape. Love it. Put the nut back on there. It's always good practice. Not that I've ever learned that the hard way. We're two things. So this 3/8 to 1/4 inch, I know it's frowned upon. They do shear, but who's really gonna get hurt? It's a 1/4 inch socket. It'll be fine. Include this. Adding one of those would be great, and that's the only extra thing I carry. However, I do carry another extra thing, but not in the case because it doesn't fit. This set only goes up to 7/8, and 15/16 would be awful handy. It's a super common nut for flanges, and you know, out in the field, you see a lot of 5/8 bolts to nuts, not the heavies, the regular ones. See it all the time. Be really dandy if you had a 15/16. No one uses 7/8. Just get rid of it. Anyway, we're probably never going to see this, but it's a great kit. As I was watching the footage from the other day, and I said, I don't know if it's worth the money. I actually looked up what it cost. I mean, these things are like $260. Talking about that. And you know what? It's worth the money. I don't like it, but I've yet to find anything better, and I feel there's not much I can't, tackle to some degree with that. Of course, you obviously need big tools at times, but I feel like 90% of what you do, you could probably do with this sucker. Maybe Snap-on makes a kit, but as far as I know, you can't buy Snap-on on Amazon, and you can buy this on Amazon. And Snap-on's the same as Harbor Freight, right? I've seen the wrench battle happening, and I am wildly entertained by that. So with that, I'm just going to pick up a little bit, but I really got to get this thing stripped for this weekend, which I think we're in pretty good shape. I don't know what that is, if that's aluminum. Every time I say I'm wrapping up, and then I got like 20 more questions. So that's aluminum. So that probably comes off. Crankshaft, I don't know how we're gonna blank that. I'm just looking at the lathe, and I don't know where my quick change tool post holder tool holders are. I've got end mills. I got all the end mills you'd ever want for my lathe, but I don't have a tool holder. So I might have to dig through here and see if they're around. I don't even know if I can grind some. 'Cause I don't have the original cup and post set up. I don't know if you can get an AXA quick change tool post tool holder locally, but I might be finding out. With that slight detour, I think I'm gonna go up and finish making dinner. But hopefully I may not see you tomorrow because we just got a whole bunch of work in. Maybe I'll sneak out at lunchtime, I don't know. Definitely the day after. And we keep going. All right, till next time. So I got a little jammed up the last couple days. The goal for today, so got quite a bit planned for today. My wife and I have to pack ourselves up, pack the baby up, drive an hour and a half. At which time I'll be able to take the 2 items I'd like to sandblast and head on over to the sandblasting cabinet and hopefully knock those projects out. Then spend the night with family. In order to get there, before any of that takes place, I need to prep the engine and the gas tank. So first, I think we're gonna tackle the fuel tank here. So we'll get this battery out of there, get these straps off, use the old weir kit and the Milwaukee ratchet, and hopefully make quick work of this. Hopefully today's not the day the battery decides to finally give out, because I haven't charged this thing in a blue moon. $110 pulled in 2025. I don't know. Sometimes I end up with batteries around that. Okay. Don't really know what to do with, or where they came from, or what happened. So, I don't know. Fuel tank. There's not much left in that. Love that locking feature. I always end up with a middle extension, not the long one, not the short one. Alrighty. Easy enough. Did I ever mention when I'm working on stuff, I like to put it back in the hole that it came from? Sometimes the repeater gets me. I don't see why this project will be any different. So, just take what you want and leave the rest. That's something. So that looks like a little quick steel or something. I don't know if that's how those things are supposed to be set. It also looks a little cockeyed, maybe because of pressure the fuel hose was putting on that barb, but maybe I have to fix that up, put a bulkhead union in there, or I don't know how you fix that, brace something on there. We'll figure it out. So let me get this fuel tank outside, get the cap off, gas it off a little bit, and it's rainy out there, so I've got that fuel tank under the tractor. I'm sure I won't forget that thing. All right, so since this is a brandy new spark plug, I think we're gonna try to save that. All right, let's grab the oh. I was so obsessed with looking for individual spark plug sockets that I didn't even realize that I had a whole row of the things. I've got to organize this place. So what's a common one? 13/16? I just taped up my thing, so we'll do that in 3/4. Loose as a goose. All right, so I'm just gonna run these head bolts. I guess these are head bolts. That's the speed version. So I'm pretty sure Milwaukee says don't get a running start and drop it on there, but I find that I can get this get something reasonably tight with this. You know, you wouldn't want to put something critical together like that, but it just gotta be tightish. You get a little running start and drop the socket on there. These weird sockets tend to handle that like really well. Another thing I like about them. And I've been doing that for, I don't know, 2-3 years, as long as I've owned this thing. And I always expect I'm gonna wreck it. And when I do, I'll buy another one and won't do that. You know, and this thing keeps ticking along. So I don't know. I'm just gonna keep doing what I do. And when it breaks, I'll reevaluate. Move. Isn't that cool? Grandma got that for my little buddy, so he can hang out and watch. When does a joke become a dad joke? When it becomes apparent. That's hilarious. Mom, good on you. Hey, buddy.
The star of the show.
The star of the show?
We're going to this LL Beans.
You going to LL Beans? Oh, down? Whoa, is that your chair? Here, let's set it up. Grandma. Oh.
What's that smell?
Gas.
Oh,
I have the thing open.
what open? The
Bro,
garage.
that's why I have the garage door open.
You're smart.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put this in my car.
Put that in your car. You going to LL Bean? Yeah. You gonna get Daddy a new shirt? Tell Mama Daddy wants a new flannel for Father's Day. Because this one's getting a little rough. I probably got to get this stator off of here. Look at that. I mean, come on. It's pretty awesome. So, all right, so this is less for you guys and more for me. Just want to get the orientation. I mean, there's only 2 screws here, so it can only go one of 2 directions, and so it looks like the 2 posts in the stator without windings are clocked at about 11 o'clock, 11:30. So should be simple enough to get back together. We do have a wire, assuming that's where that goes. There's 3 wires coming off of that. 2 in the back, 1 in the front. I'm sure that'll be easy enough to figure out what they do so far as the windings are concerned. No, I don't know how I'm gonna handle that. Give the old mini ugga-dugga. Nice. Nice. All right, so that could be an issue. Me slapping that thing, but so I was also thinking about putting maybe like a stepper driven Acme thread to move this thing around, but I don't know how to do the feedback. Let's get our automation terms right here. The feedback will be simple. I don't know how to get the positioning to line up with what I'm doing down here. And that's a problem for some other day, but I think that'd be kind of neat. It's the other thing that tends to happen when you're trying to remove the terminals from the housing is that inevitably you stab yourself and get upset, say some things you regret, and then end up cutting them. So if you just jump to that stage right off the bat, you can save yourself some trouble. All right, retried. What? I might be doing this, I might be getting after this all wrong. So what we got going on here, that might be an issue. So this, oh boy. Does that have its own bearing? So we got this stator, we got this mounting plate for the stator, I'm assuming. And then I'm hoping that that's just a lip seal, not a bearing, but it kind of looks like the inner race of a bearing. And if that is the case, when I pull this whole assembly off, I'm kind of screwed because that might leave the block open here. So I just want to make sure everything's loose, and then I guess we're gonna give the old double pry bar. Man, there's something I don't see. Oh, like, yeah, like 2 more screws I never unscrewed. Jeez Louise. Somebody else catch that? Oh, probably. Yeah, there we go. Come on, don't you do that to me. I think that's too big too. So here's my predicament. Darn. We'll do it like this, staggered cut. At least might give us a chance. It's only 3, so I think we'll be all right there. All right, so this bearing plate, this bearing in here, this plate that kind of holds the stator and a bunch of other stuff, that, you know, sits on a machine surface, which I think is probably pretty important to maintain, keep intact. So I'm going to bolt this thing back up, sacrifice this aluminum plate, and go from there. Kind of a bummer, but wish I had something to pop over that. But there is one cover plate that looks, is that about the same? I could strip that one off the other engine. No, not the same. Okay. All right. Been a lot of questions here about what to do and how to do it correctly. I'm really running out of time, but I'm gonna try to disconnect the connecting rod, take the head off, and pull the crankshaft through. So my whole plan for today kind of went sideways on me, but. I'm going to try to just gently work that out. Alrighty. Plates off. Bearing's in really nice shape. First view of the innards. Pretty neat. All right, so if I had to guess, this bed plate needs to come out. Nope. You know, advantage to the price of this weir kit is that when you lose a socket, it doesn't stay lost for long. I've been pretty motivated to go retrieve these things. My wife is in the car behind me, probably ready to go. She's a pretty classy gal, so she's not yelling at me, but you know, I kind of got the high eyebrows a few times this morning. I'm not so much what you call a planner. I just kind of, maybe it's by virtue of my weird work schedule, but I just kind of wake up and sort of do. My wife is a planner, and I'm better off for it. But sometimes I got to remember that. All right, I think I also made a mistake here. I got to get this. Like the first thing they said to do was take that dipstick out. Hello, dear. I was just telling them what a great planner I am. I mean, this has got to be threaded in, right? Is this just an interference fit? Oh, no. I'm gonna have a great time getting that. How are you supposed to get it out? Hey guys. How's it going? I gave up trying to be civilized about this, and I'm just going at it so we can get out of here.
Okay.
I was just saying how lovely you were, gracious, patient. I mean, really singing your praises.
You lying through your teeth?
Dude, you're a cutie pie. You know that? Just a cutie pie. Alrighty. Look at that. It's in great shape. Put that on the bed plate. It's gonna be tricky to film what I'm planning on doing here, but basically we're just gonna disconnect this connecting rod. It's gonna require me to hit it with a punch. Alrighty. Alright, so those are just locking tabs that keep these bolts from spinning out. It's usually a pretty bad day when that happens. So that's for splash lubrication off the end of the connecting rod, the bottom cap of the connecting rod. Alright, little Milwaukee. Yeah. With 49 Newton meters of nut busting force. All right, bearings, like, all right, Babbitt's got a little bit of wear. And right at the split line, can you? Right at the split line, but hey, pretty good. So now we're gonna just shove that down. All right, we're gonna be nice to this. Of course, yeah. Okay, I think what we're gonna do here is just what I probably should have done to begin with, was drop this journal. Try to center this up, which is no longer centered. I'm just gonna push it down. There we go. All right, let's give it the old French Revolution treatment. Off with the head. We do need to get this connecting rod out. I do have a spare. So we do this, sacrifice the rod, spare the rod. Alrighty, so we're gonna try to pop this out of here.
Do you have any towels?
Towels, like that rag bin right there. There's a big hole on a cardboard box. Reach in there and get a surprise. All right, pistons out. See how we did? Ah, too bad. Cool. Standard. So I got one of these coming. So I have one. I've got the 10 over, obviously. Okay, no time to chat.
What kind of piston is it?
Standard?
Oh, cool.
I think my wife's trolling me a little bit here.
Ballpark. What's your time? No rush on our end.
Yeah.
Here.
Well, dear, I've never done it before, so I don't. No, just kidding. Give me an hour, but then I have to pack.
Yeah, we have to pack too.
Okay, I'm like 10 minutes out on packing.
Oh, I'm not. I feel like we're gonna leave probably by 12 or 12:30.
I'm supposed to be there to sandblasting, but I'm gonna be really responsible and tap this out over the seal, over the bearing. All right, bearing stays with. Crankshaft is out. This is the thing we really want to save, so pretty. Journals are looking, I mean, there's no scoring. There's no odd stuff going on with the teeth. The tooth engagement looks like kind of where it should be. You know, yeah, I think this is a viable candidate. So pretty happy about that. I'm gonna stick this in a box somewhere so I don't drop it. It's been happening a lot lately to me. One-handed Toby. All right. Gotta get the valves compressed. I don't know if I have a valve compressor. All right, no spring compressor. I believe that's the automatic compression release, which is kind of neat. I don't think we necessarily need to get the camshaft out if we... Still have to contend with this. I'm not sure what we're gonna do there, but that will be basically covered up. Set ground. What is that? That's gotta be something with the spark. It's tied into the camshaft. I'm sure there's a little lobe on there that operates something. That maybe that's a little switch that connects the circuit to send spark to the So I took shop class in high school and we covered this stuff, but I mean it's been 25 years. So off of the camshaft there must be a lobe on the camshaft that shifts this little rod which moves that, and I believe this is called the points right here. You often see people take some sandpaper or like a fingernail file, clean them up, and we'll start videos. You clean up the points a little bit, boom, off it goes. That's never the case for me, but. Alrighty, so that's on. We're in good shape there. Bearings, pretty slick, but we ain't got the time for that. How are we gonna cover that? I don't know. Maybe we can just make something to slap over that real quick. I don't have any transfer anything, so. I also could take that aluminum and cut it. I think that might be what I'm gonna do, but. Just trying to line this. Oh man, come on. I totally have that backwards. That's okay. You know? Let's try that all over again. Gonna drop that on. Sometimes it's nice to just get a punch in there. Of course, my punch is too big. All right, that will just sort of hold you concentric while you're getting one of these other ones in. Concentric, that's a good word. Hear that, Jim? I think another boss of mine, way back in the day, used that word, and I was so impressed with it. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that in a sentence. And an old trick. Put it half on there. I was gonna make a joke about that. I figured it wouldn't work, but yeah, you can't do that if you're an absolute animal like I am and in a rush. Just don't have anybody watching you. You say you've never done that? Well, I don't believe it. Well, originally I was gonna take the old crankshaft out of the messed up engine, throw it in here, kind of seal that up. Obviously I don't have time for that. We are leaving half an hour ago. So then I was like, well, whatever, I can just turn something, the dowel down, and then I realized that I don't have half the stuff for my tool holder. So I'm not totally sure how we're gonna deal with this. Could put that in there. The fit is covered by the bearing over here. Although that doesn't help us on the other side. We probably really do need to do something about this, which is why I was thinking, ooh, let's not describe it. Let's just do it, get it over with, and live with the consequences. Good enough. Sorry, engine. You've been through a lot. Plug these guys. I don't know. That lip seal's got a little bit of play to it, so if I could just get something that's real tight, maybe it'll stay. Of course, there's a big hole in the middle of the socket. What am I thinking? Although it is smaller, let's see. I'll just. That's all right. We made it smaller. Wish I had some metal ones, but better than nothing. Okay, well, that is gotta be the dumbest thing going, but I think it'll keep the sand out. And lastly, here's this. I really don't know what to do about this exhaust. Maybe Wayne has a little trick up his sleeve. I don't know. Alrighty. I think we're gonna catch you guys on the other end of this trip because baby's ready to go. Wife's ready to go. I better go. We'll see you in a couple hours. Yeah, that worked, man. You don't have a little handsaw or anything, do you?
Which one? Tell you what.
Real close to being awesome. You know what? It'll be fine. Let's give it a little port and polish, right? Make it go faster. Ready. All right, this is the setup. Engine block. Got the gas tank, got it set up. It's very fine media, which is great. I was a little nervous at first, but it'll be perfect. So, we're gonna get going here. Take a look at this bad boy for a second. Oh, son. That is a slick rig right there. I heard that thing going, I was like, all right. can pull that thing out of there. All right. Pretty pumped. Probably gonna stop working here in a second, so I'm just gonna shut it down. Beautiful morning up here, very early the next day. So I'm just gonna wrap up, you know, some of the areas a little harder to blast, like the cooling fins and whatnot, and get that tank done and hopefully be back for breakfast. So yeah, get to it. Oh, gorgeous morning. Tell you what. What a beautiful car. What a beautiful air compressor too. Just install this real quick. Just don't want to mess it up. The rest of these up as I you know, I come situations like this, like, you know, if I borrow a tool or use somebody's equipment, 9 times out of 10 I'm like working on it beforehand. And this guy, he went through it, he had this thing ready to go. It's unbelievable. So what a dude. Wayne, thank you, you're the man. Alrighty. This is a Scat Blast, made in the USA, dry blast system. I've only used a few, maybe 3 B-blast cabinets. Seen a ton of them in the shipyards and whatnot, but personally I don't have a ton of experience with them. But out of the 3 I've used, this one is pretty slick. I mean, they're all pretty similar, but I tell you, this one's pretty nice. So there's an interior. I wasn't even thinking this thing probably just fall right off, huh? One would think that the protective film would be on the inside. And I think it's been flipped around or something. Isn't that something? Okay. So if I was in one of those true crime shows and I had to solve this mystery and somebody cared what I thought, none of which are true, I would say, tell you, I'll describe to you how this happened. And I feel like, you know, when you're working behind somebody, we always give the least charitable scenario seems like the most likely to us. So let's do this. There's some fella working all night for some little old lady, had a project. He was doing it for free, of course. And, you know, he just couldn't see through this window. Well, he had to get this thing done so that his company could keep using it in the morning. So he knew that he had another film locked up somewhere. He couldn't access it. He couldn't remember where it was. He had to ask the right guy. So he just flipped this thing around for the night. You know? And he got home, he found out his wife was pregnant and went on paternity leave for however long that is. And by the time he got back, he forgot, and the protective film was left on the outside. There's a parts list in here, and maybe what we could do is a thank you. Order Wayne a new piece of glass. Honestly, it looks just like a regular old piece of glass. Is there special sandblast glass? I don't know. So we'll cover both. We'll grab a measurement. All right. I think that was on top. Oh, come on. Dropped my wedding ring. So if I do this over again, which I'm about to, I would square the bottom up. I'm gonna put it on setting 1 to be a gentleman. In case I get a couple uggas in there, I don't ruin Wayne's cabinet. Somebody already did it to that one. That's okay. You already know there's a solution. That solution is this guy right here. And we'll use the mighty Leatherman. What is this thing? Skeletal CX. Pretty. Never been a huge Leatherman guy up until recently with this particular Leatherman. I always thought that they're too bulky. I don't like carrying stuff in my belt. So if you lose your bit, like I just did, I think took a weird bounce. I'm not really sure what it is. I'm sure it'll come up. But if you lose your bit, you're out of business. If you have some Phillips and you lose the Phillips, you're done. If you have a flathead, you lose the flathead, you're done. However, I was able to find some cheap combination jobs, a little pack on Amazon, and they work. The problem is they're not that nice. Like, they do break. And I preferred if Leatherman made the combination ones, but I don't have any, and it's okay. Otherwise, I couldn't be more tickled with that knife. It's got pliers. I don't know why I'm going on about this, but you know, like I said, it's what I tend to think about. So you get that, make sure you get that bit locked in there. A little screwdriver, pliers. There's a bunch of other stuff you never use, and I don't know what it does. Little wire cutters. I have used that little wire cutter before, and that's pretty good. You can ding it up if you get too crazy with it, but as long as you're doing copper, that'll get you out of a jam. And of course, a knife that actually works, and it doesn't feel all weird, you know? It's no different than your buck knife or whatever, so. Pretty slick. And it's got the pocket clip, which I like, so. This is obviously not a paid endorsement. No one watches this thing anyway, so. But if you're looking for a slick knife to carry around with you, not be all bulky and look like, you know, an operator with all your equipment on your belt line. Pretty good. Also, these days, people are getting funny. I travel a lot. Some people are funny about knives, you know? It's a weird thing. It's a tool. I don't get it. But no one really causes much of a fuss over a pink Leatherman. So there's that. So my brother-in-law said he restored this thing for his father for Father's Day. So Nick, that's a hell of a nice job. Feel like it's a lot better. Cooling fins, I was struggling with a little bit. You know, it's looking pretty good. It looks like there's some just mud daubers or something down in there. But, man, that's slick. Gas tank's looking great. I just tested it out, make sure everything was good. Figured I'd save that one for last. Deal with the hardest part first. Just like painting your house, always start in the back. All right, so we're gonna get to it. See you on the other side of the sandblasting. Don't know if this sandblast cabinet is made for a foot my size. See that?
I did.
Good. I'm so glad. I was hoping.
Happy Father's Day, buddy.
Hey, thanks, man. Ooh, sorry, I'm limited in my
We
hand.
figured that you didn't have any nourishment.
Oh, yeah, man. What is all of this going
Those
on?
are breakfast sandwiches that I made.
What a guy.
Boy, it's coming good.
Happy Father's Day to you, too.
Thank you.
Are you sure you're a father?
Yeah.
I'm fucking not mad at that at all. I
I
tell you
was
what,
gonna say that. I think that looks good.
that gas tank, though.
Funny story. Nothing to do with this.
Alrighty. Pretty pumped about that. All right, back in the garage here, post sandblasting. Pretty tickled about how all that turned out. You can see we drove a broomstick into the exhaust port just because that's what we did, and seemed to work out okay. So, hey, all's well that ends well. I dusted this gas tank with a little bit of high temp primer. I think it's good for 2,000 degrees, if I remember correctly. I didn't want it to, oxidize and ruin all the work. However, the engine, I need to get this exhaust off. So hit it with some PB Blaster. Just, as I was shooting at PB Blaster, I realized, oh yeah, I need to prime this thing. PB Blaster and primer, I'm no paint expert. I'm pretty certain that's not a winning combination. So I held off on priming this thing. As you can see, I also bought a little, 3/8 of a ton engine stand. It was getting kind of difficult to move this thing around. That oil plug on the bottom was really giving me trouble. So I think it was like $60 or something. Hey, I put that together. I made a little video. I'm not sure if I'm going to post that or not, but anywho, so we got the stand moving forward, and yeah. So this video is getting pretty long. I think we're going to wrap up episode 2 and move on to episode 3. If you'd like to see more, hit that like button. Consider subscribing. Been on the other side of this conversation a million times. It's a little clunky, but it does help, and yeah, I do appreciate it. All right, so we'll see you guys on episode 3.